Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather today. I'm meteorologist Al Peterlin. I'd like to talk about the weather health risk for October 20th, 2025. We do keep additional graphics available at tpatw.com. We're starting to look at a very active fall weather pattern. We have one front off the eastern seaboard, but still lingering back over the upper portions of New England and the final southern area stretching right across southern Florida. The really active frontal system stretches from Minnesota across through Missouri and down into Oklahoma, Texas, and all the way back to Utah. Looking at our vitality index, which is the composite or the measure of all of those weather elements that impact human health, and we'll see that we have some kind of weather health impact over almost all of the country, except for the extreme southwest and the Four Corners. Looking at pressure change, which is one of the very active patterns that can trigger headache and pain, and we have rising pressure across most of the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Rockies, and even westernmost portions of the plains. We have rising pressure also, post-frontal rising pressure, behind that front up and down the Appalachians, taking in most of Pennsylvania, Ohio, all the way from Georgia. We do still have falling pressure with that frontal system from Minnesota down into Texas, and we have falling pressure lingering here in New England, mainly covering the state of Maine. Temperatures are also extremely active, with a little bit of rising temperatures and a migraine risk here in Oregon and right along the northern California coast. We have rising temperatures, prefrontal rising temperatures with that active front stretching all the way from Dallas clear on up and basically to Chicago. We have falling temperatures across the northern plains, Montana, Dakotas, Wyoming, Colorado, and we have falling temperatures behind that active eastern front running all the way from extreme eastern Georgia up and through Pennsylvania. Dew point temperatures also extremely active for those sensitive to humidity. We have falling dew points across the northern portions of the west. We have falling dew points behind that front in the east up the Appalachians. We have rising dew point temperatures ahead of the active front here in the plains. And the vapor pressure is showing very much the same thing, although we can now see that there still is that little bit of rising dew points cutting across Florida and acting as a feeder from the Gulf up into the plains. Looking at our POI, or the availability of oxygen in the atmosphere, we can break it down now to migraine and asthma. And you can see we do have an asthma risk up here in portions of Oregon and coastal California, a significant asthma risk here in Texas, up across Oklahoma, into Missouri, back into Illinois, stretching all the way up to Minnesota, reaching as far east as Indiana and portions of Mississippi. But we have the migraine risk as the most important feature of much of the West, stretching all the way from the westernmost portions of the plains, Kansas, Nebraska, the Dakotas, picking up significantly in Montana to Idaho, Wyoming, Colorado, back to Utah, and even Nevada. Back to the east, we have a migraine risk from the panhandle of Florida, across Georgia, through the Carolinas, all the way up through Virginia, West Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, and taking in portions of the eastern lakes. And we again then have a little bit of an asthma risk lingering up here in Maine. Thanks for visiting the patient and the weather. Your comments are appreciated. And if you hurt, tell us where you're located.